If one night you get lost deep in the Slavic Black Forest, where snow seals every path like a burial shroud, you'll hear two things before you see anything at all. The first is the wind, no longer just wind, but an ancient breath testing you from every direction. The second is a faint, rhythmic clacking, like claws tapping bone. And then, in the gap between two heartbeats, you see it. A small wooden hut standing on enormous chicken legs, turned toward the forest like a creature with eyes. No chimney smoke, no lamplight, only a fence of pale bones around the yard, and on each bone stake a hollow human skull, waiting for night to glow. They say that if you step past that fence, you're not only stepping into a witch's home, you're stepping into the thinnest border of the world, where evil and wisdom, hunger and revelation, death and the final lesson all wear the same face. And that face has a name that makes children go silent, makes adults go cold inside, and makes the truly curious risk everything. Baba Yaga. People call her the Greenwood Witch, the child eater, the one who boils bones in a cauldron. They whisper that she flies across the sky in a mortar, pushing with a pestle, sweeping away her tracks with a broom so no one can follow. They say she smells of damp mushrooms and rotting earth, her nails like roots, her hair like hanging moss. But if she were only a monster, why does she keep returning in Slavic tales like a doorway? Sometimes she devours the lost, and sometimes she gives the brave a miraculous gift. A flame, a direction, a horse faster than the wind, a sword that chooses its owner. The central question bites like a thorn. Is Baba Yaga truly the forest's predator? Or is she the guardian of an ancient wild wisdom? A knowledge that never comes free and never belongs to the weak-hearted? Imagine a gray afternoon when a girl named Vasilisa stands before her poor wooden home, her hands trembling with hunger and fear. Her mother has died, and before her last breath, she gives Vasilisa a tiny doll, telling her that in desperation, she must feed it a crumb of bread and a sip of water, and ask it what she needs to know. It sounds like a child's comfort, but in Slavic stories, the doll is the seed of a legacy. Intuition, the motherline spirit, the survival instinct women pass to one another in silence. And then, as the harshest stories always do, life pushes Vasilisa out. A cruel stepmother extinguishes the fire in the hearth and pretends to panic, ordering Vasilisa into the forest to fetch flame. Everyone knows it's a death sentence. The night forest is not a place to borrow fire. The night forest is a mouth. Vasilisa walks into the woods. Snow crunches underfoot, and the trees rise like the black pillars of a forgotten temple. The deeper she goes, the more the light is swallowed, until she must hear her way forward and smell her way through. And just as fear climbs into her throat, she sees the bone fence. She sees the skulls, and she sees the hut on chicken legs, its back turned as if deliberately ignoring her. In the old tale, Vasilisa remembers what the doll taught her, or what someone once warned her. You must speak the right words, call the right ritual, as if coaxing a door to open. She says, little house, turn your front to me, your back to the forest." The hut shudders. The chicken legs scratch the earth. Wood groans like the joints of an ancient body. It turns, and the door opens into a darkness so deep it feels like the mouth of a well. Baba Yaga appears without needing to step. It's as if she was there before the door ever moved. She does not greet. She does not comfort. She sniffs the air like a beast and laughs, a dry sound that can make dead leaves fall. She asks what every wanderer in the forest is asked, whether by words or by eyes. Why have you come? Vasilisa says she needs fire. Baba Yaga does not pity her, but she does not refuse at once either. She sets a condition, and that condition reveals Baba Yaga's true nature. If you want to live, If you want what you ask for, you must work. Not work to please someone, but work to prove you can keep your mind clear inside terror. She orders Vasilisa to sweep the yard, to pick seeds, to sort grains mixed with sand, to cook, to clean, to do tasks that look small, but in the forest become trials. The horror is not only labor, it's the knowledge that one mistake could be enough for Baba Yaga to throw her into the oven. Night falls, and the forest around Baba Yaga's hut does not sleep. It listens. Vasilisa doesn't sleep either. Her hands numb in the cold, she works while the doll quietly chews its tiny crumbs, like a second heartbeat hidden in her pocket. The doll seems to whisper what to do, like a mother's blood guiding a daughter. Baba Yaga watches with old eyes bright as coals. When Vasilisa finishes, Baba Yaga does not praise her. She only mutters, as if disappointed she hasn't found a reason to kill. And in the morning, she gives Vasilisa what she came for, but not as a simple flame held in the palm. Baba Yaga gives her a human skull with fire burning inside, a blue, cold fire that does not die. Vasilisa carries the glowing skull out of the forest. When she returns home, that strange light burns her stepmother and stepsisters, as if the darkness within them catches fire by itself. Vasilisa survives, but her survival is not a gift handed over. It is paid for with fear endured and a mind kept steady. This is the Baba Yaga we cannot hate completely. She is not only a child-eating monster. She is a gatekeeper, a keeper of the forest's law. You step into her domain, you pay a price. But the price is not always blood. The price is growth. In other Slavic dailies, Baba Yaga appears as the final test for those seeking something greater. A young man searching for a stolen bride, a prince seeking the water of life, a wanderer chasing a cure for a curse. They come to Baba Yaga because every civilized road ends at the forest's edge. Beyond that point, only instinct remains, and wit, and the ability to stare straight at what makes you tremble. Baba Yaga rarely gives what you want immediately, but she knows the paths, the rules, the conditions under which magic can happen. She is like the forest's living archive, but her books are not paper. Her books are bone, ash, and wind. The hot on chicken legs strikes at the deepest human hunger for safety. A house in our minds is fixed, sheltering, stable. But Baba Yaga's house is alive. It turns. It chooses direction. It has its own will. The chicken legs look absurd, but they carry meaning. They belong to a creature that lives on land and constantly scratches into the earth. Near mud, quick, instinctive. That hut stands between worlds, not on a stone foundation, but on living nature. It tells you, in the forest, shelter is not walls and roofs. Shelter is understanding the forest's law. Then there is the bone fence and the glowing skulls. In civilized life, bones are hidden, buried, softened into memory. Baba Yaga builds them into markers, into lamps. She turns death into signage. The forest does not care about your morality. The forest only cares whether you are aware enough and humble enough to survive. The skulls seem to say, here's the cost of entering, as if you are the owner. If you disrespect the wild will display you as warning. Even the mortar and pestle she rides are not random details. In old Slavic life, they were kitchen tools, tools of women, tools of everyday labor. In Baba Yaga's hands, they become a vehicle that cuts across the sky. Labor becomes power. The ordinary becomes magic. The pestle's deeper meaning is grinding, crushing, breaking something hard into something usable. Baba Yaga embodies that process in you. The old must be ground down for the new to emerge. No pain, no transformation. Many people want Baba Yaga to be pure evil because that's easier to breathe with. If she is evil, we only need to avoid her. But folktales are never that simple. Folktales are maps of the human soul, and Baba Yaga stands at the place on the map where you cannot walk around. She is the wild truth civilization tries to forget. Nature is not gentle. Time does not negotiate. Death does not bargain. When you face Baba Yaga, you face survival instinct in its purest form. And if you pass, you do not only live, you understand. That is why she appears as an old woman. In many cultures, old women are reduced to weakness or ridicule. But in myth, the old woman can be the final form of authority. The authority of someone who has lived long enough to stop trying to please. Baba Yaga does not need beauty. She does not need youth. She does not need to be loved. She only needs to be true. And that truth frightens people, because it tears away the layers we build so we can sleep. If we see Baba Yaga as the guardian of wild wisdom, she becomes a teacher in the harshest sense. She does not lecture. She does not embrace her students. She throws them into the test. She puts you before hunger, cold, solitude, confusion, and watches to see if you lose your humanity, your mind, your decency. And strangely, in many tales, those who approach her with respect, who ask properly, who listen to warnings, often receive what they need. Not because Baba Yaga is kind, but because the forest respects those who respect the forest. The greedy, the arrogant, the entitled often become the next skull on the fence. In that sense, Baba Yaga is like the ancient world's immune system. She is nature's response to intrusion. She is the forest's answer to human appetite. In an old agrarian society living beside the woods, the forest was both pantry and predator. The Slavs could not tame it the way modern minds want to tame everything. They had to live with it like a difficult god. Baba Yaga gives that god a face, a voice, a set of rules. She makes the wild memorable. Look at her symbolically, and you'll see Baba Yaga standing at a threshold. She is not in the village, and she is not merely an animal. She lives at the edge where everything flips. And the edge is where transformation happens. The girl who enters for fire returns with a new strength. The boy who enters for life water returns with wisdom and responsibility. In psychological terms, Baba Yaga is the shadow zone of life, the part we fear to look at, yet the more we deny it, the more it erupts in the worst ways. Folk tales teach a terrifying truth. To receive a gift, you must walk through fear, and the one guarding the gift will look like a demon. Some stories even suggest there are many Baba Yagas, as if she is a role more than a person, a title the forest can wear through different faces. If you understand her that way, she stops being a character to hate and becomes a principle, the principle of wildness, testing, and cost. Why then is she linked so often to cannibal horror, especially children? Brutal as it sounds, in the old world, the forest was a real danger. A child lost in the woods was dead. People needed a figure that could nail that warning into memory. Nothing nails a warning like a story. Baba Yaga becomes both a teaching fear and the symbol of nature's indifference. Yet the tales also show survival comes not from muscles, but from attention, humility, diligence, and sometimes from the quiet inheritance of maternal wisdom, like Vasilisa's doll. Even inside terror, the story plants a lesson. Do not underestimate the wild, and do not run from the wild within yourself. If we compare Baba Yaga to modern life, she resembles what we try to silence, the truth that not everything is soft. We live in an age that wants every experience safe, every road signed, every problem solvable with instructions. But there are zones with no manual: grief, failure, illness, betrayal, aging, loneliness. That is the forest of human life. And in that forest, there is always a Baba Yaga waiting, not to kill you, but to ask the hardest question. What do you want? And do you have the courage to pay the cost of wanting it? Today, we talk about reconnecting with nature, healing, finding peace. But real nature is not only peace. Real nature has storm, hunger, cold, long night. And real healing is not only soothing. Real healing sometimes means staring at what frightens you, shames you, hurts you. Baba Yaga, as guardian of wild wisdom, is the symbol of that kind of healing. She does not hand you a warm blanket. She hands you a skull of fire. It can light your way, but it can also burn away what is poisonous, what you keep calling family, habit, safety. In modern films and retellings, Baba Yaga is often simplified into a pure villain or turned into a stylish witch for aesthetics. Strip that away, and she still stands like an ancient stone. She represents a raw feminine power that is not domesticated, not smiling, not framed for comfort. In many societies, a woman's power that refuses obedience is labeled toxic, witch, dangerous. Baba Yaga wears that label like a bone crown. She does not ask permission to exist. That is why she is feared and why she fascinates. Seen through an ecological lens, Baba Yaga is the guardian of the boundary between human and wild. She warns that the forest is not property. It is a living force. When humans cut, invade, and treat nature as material, we step into Baba Yaga's yard with arrogance. The skulls on the fence can be read like prophecy, not because a witch will fly down to punish, but because nature has its own language. Soil exhaustion, water scarcity, stronger storms, spreading disease, distant consequences becoming close. The modern Baba Yaga might look like wildfire summers, flash floods, sudden freezes, ecosystems collapsing. The wild never disappears. It only changes how it speaks. And on a personal level, Baba Yaga can be the season when life throws you out of your comfort, the way Vasilisa is sent into the woods. It may be losing a job, losing someone, losing faith, or simply losing your beautiful image of yourself. You enter a darkness, and inside it you face small tasks: cleaning, sorting, rebuilding, starting over. Things the ego wants to skip, but those tasks repeated are how you survive the night. Baba Yaga does not ask what your philosophy is. She asks whether you can wash dishes when your heart is breaking, whether you can get up when no one applauds, whether you can keep discipline when no one is watching. That is wild wisdom. Live first, then speak about meaning. That is why Baba Yaga is not good in a cute way and not evil in a senseless way. She is the forest's justice, and the forest's justice has no courtroom, no speech, only consequence. In the tailies, she can help, but she helps in a way you remember for life. She gives you what you ask for with a warning. She gives you magic, then forces you to carry it home and take responsibility for it. She does not reward begging. She rewards proof. So who is Baba Yaga in the end? If you are a child listening by the fire, she is the fear that keeps you from wandering. If you are an adult living by the woods, she is the face of a wildness you must respect. If you are a storyteller, she is the character that gives the tale teeth. But if you are someone walking through your own forest, Baba Yaga may be the final question of a human life. What do you want, and how much are you willing to pay to be worthy of it? Perhaps the most beautiful and terrifying truth about Baba Yaga is this: she does not need you to believe she exists. She only needs the forest to exist. And the forest, outside or inside, always exists. When you stand at the threshold, before the hut that turns its face toward you, you understand why the Slavs spoke her name with a voice half trembling, half reverent. Because some wisdom is not written in letters, but carved into experience. Some fire does not come from coal, but from the moment you step into darkness and still remain yourself. And in the deepest part of that ancient wood, Baba Yaga is not only a witch. She is the keeper of the wild flame, a light that is not gentle, not comforting, but strong enough to reveal the true road. And if you ask me whether Baba Yaga is a devourer or a guardian, I will answer in the only way the forest answers. She is both. She is the knife and the hand that holds the torch. She is fear and she is lesson. She is cost, and she is reward. And if you want to know what you will receive when you knock on the hut's door, the answer depends on one thing alone. Not how strong you are, but how real you are when the lights of civilization are gone.